HiSec BuyBack offers a 90% GDA anywhere in HiSec. Simply go to hisec.evebuyback.com, appraise your items, create a contract, and get paid quickly.
Welcome to TIS, a show about EVE Online. Today is Wednesday, September 1st. So I'm your host, Shen, with Kenneth Feld.
Good evening.
And we have Maniskar in the background for engineering. So today we have, the most recent news about the Caldari Union Day, and then we're going to talk about industry. Well, how is it going to look like post-war, and then we're going to look at Rorquals out in space and getting killed, and at the end we'll mention a Titan kill. So we're going to start off with the Caldari Union Day. So this Empire Celebration National Holiday thing is the last out of the four. So we started with the Galente, and then is the Mimitar, and the last one was the Amar one. And here we have the Caldari Union Day, the last one of the four. So as people may expect with this event, we have a login reward that is going to last for, let me check, it's going to last for 5 days. 5 days, right? Yeah.
Yeah, there's 5 things, but I think it lasts for 7 or 8 days. That way, if you miss a day, you can still collect it.
Yeah, exactly. And then with the second day, same thing as the last 3, you have expert pack included. Even if you're alpha, you can collect that as part of the reward. With that, so there are also daily challenges going along with the gifts. So those things will be, if you shoot a firework, you'll go to a certain system that you assigned on that day, and then you go to that system, shoot fireworks at some sort of landmark, and then you receive some skill point for it. And with that, we have a new lore monument that's also going to come. So there'll be 2 of them being constructed in time for the Caldari Union Day. One is in New Caldari. So that facility is dedicated to teaching of the Kutu to Miru. I think it's part of the lore background. And it's basically the Caldari philosophy that speaks to align the mind and body. Yeah, so I think the next one is in Erland 2, if I'm not mistaken, looking at the devlog, there will be Provost Riot memory to pay your respect to the lives of Caldari citizens lost at the hands of terrorists in YC 1110. Yeah, so that would be like anti-Galente riot thing, a monument, basically. Also with this, just like the last MAR event, we have the state military stockpile mining blitz. So this is what a lot of people know back in the days called the resource war, where you can go to those sites in certain systems, and then you can basically mine them and then fight the terrorists in those sites. Yeah. So it'd be like you get reward for ISK, LP, and then skins. So those skins can be there'll be 3 new skins added along with the rest of the skins that you can get in the past. So the 3 new ones will be the Griffins, the Korax, and the Ferox. And then after that, we have the 2v2 Caldari Battlecruiser Proving Ground. So this just like again, like the 3 events that we had before. So this one will be the 2v2 Caldari, so to be 2 T1 battle cruisers that's from the Caldari faction. So that'll be the Drake, the Ferox, and the Naga. So like with the previous proving grounds for these national holidays for the empires, there are certain restrictions that you wouldn't see in other proving grounds. So this time we have one local repaired modules limited to 1, And then also modules that are not allowed or that are banned is sensor dams, shield boost amplifiers, shield rechargers, shield power relays, shield flux coil, and purger rigs. Yeah, so the whole point of that is if some people can fit a very strong buffer fit on their, let's say, Drake. That means so that's going to prevent other people to even break their tank, and it's going to basically take up the entire time that the filament is going to allow. It's also going to make the things make the proving ground go faster, which is more exciting as well.
The most important thing about this is, yes, you can bring your Drake. And I would imagine there's going to be 2-on-2 Drakes on Drakes for some of these. And I just wish I was there to watch them all blow up.
Yeah, right on. And then maybe in the future, in the next proving ground, or down the line, that we can see like a spectator seat that we can have in the proving ground to observe some of these actions in real time.
If you only knew.
Well, we'll see.
No. That was when we first learned, when the CSM first learned about this feature, was over a year ago now. That was kind of one of my first thoughts and one of my first questions, because I looked at it as a precursor to possibly Alliance tournaments. And it was like, hey, can you have a Polaris or whatever camera in there like they do, like CCP does for the Jita cam or something like that? Can you have a camera in there for watching the match type thing? That was the very first thought that came across my mind.
So that was a year ago, and then now they're still not here yet. Wow. And
well, there's a reason why. I just can't tell you why, but there is a reason why they can't do it. There will be CCTV streams, I think, along with this. I think they'll be matched up with Twitch people and stuff to go along with this and do the proving grounds the first day, right? And also, too, this proving ground is an extra day because the 6th of September is a U.S. holiday, so that it runs Friday to Tuesday now.
that's good to know. That's good to know. And then, well, the next thing that I was going to mention is the CP stream and the propaganda contest that will be followed up. I think that's going to be another dev block, same as the other propaganda contests that we have seen in the past, I think. So after that, we have the PLEX deals and the state police skins. So right now you can buy PLEX with additional free skins. So that'll be the 240 Plex with a free Korax skin, 500 Plex with free Drake skin, and then 2,860 Plex with free Naga and Rorq skins. And so while we're on the topic of state police skins, we can showcase the new state police skins. It looks really cool. So we're seeing right now is just exiting warp. So this is a Manticore, the Caldari stealth bomber. Yeah. So with that, I think we can wrap up. So for those skins, you can only buy them in the New Eden store. So you have to purchase Plex and then buy them with Plex. Anything on this, Kenneth? Before we wrap up, move on.
No, I think that's pretty much it. I think these skins are only for the event too. Once the event's over, those skins won't be available, right?
Yeah, I think that's correct. Yeah. So I mean, it didn't mention. I don't see anything that it mentions that's gonna go away. But I assume since it's mentioned this devlog, it will go alongside with this event. Okay, let's move on to the meat and potato of today's discussion. So we'll be discussing the heavy Rorqual mining that maybe some people expect post-war, right? So I think right now, almost a month ago, that Pappy announced the withdrawal from Delve. So at this point, most of the move ops is over for most people, right? We're gonna see at the end. There's gonna be, for some people it's not over yet. But what we can expect down the line, or in the near future, is a lot more Rorqual minings come out and then mine in those homelands of those Pappy and Imperium space. So first question that's going to come up is, how does it compare to what it was pre-war or pre-scarcity? Because this war has lasted for a long time, right? It lasted for almost a year and a bit. So how is this gonna? Things has changed during this year. So how things has changed during this year, and how is it gonna impact? How is Rorqual mining going to impact those changes, or how is it going to compile together?
Well, the scarcity started before the war. So Rorquals were pretty much put away even before the war started. And this war, a lot of it was, in past wars, it was all about money, ISK, right? Whoever had the deepest pockets normally won. And then now this war shifted more to the minerals. Whoever had the most minerals to build stuff won, because it was very difficult to retrieve more minerals from mining just due to scarcity. Now that the war is over, everyone's gone back and they're just mining what they can. But there's a lot of people who either haven't used a Rorqual in a year and a half, or are just getting into their first Rorqual. And I don't think people are fully set up for it. Just looking at the boards here, Test Alliance lost 5 Rorquals today, or I guess it's technically yesterday, and then 2 right before that. So basically 7 in the last 26, 27 hours. So there's probably a little bit of a learning curve there, or a learning curve for the Alliance. I think they had a Reddit post that was saying something along the lines of, hey, no more Rorqual mining until Saturday when we come up with Plan B. That's probably pretty smart. I know PL, we really haven't done much yet. I'm not going to go into too much what we are doing, but we do have a plan and we're executing that plan. And when it's time to put stuff in space, we certainly will.
That definitely sounds really fun, with all those big toys out there in space. Lots of targets to kill. So during this war, I guess, so the first thing that comes up in a lot of people's mind is a big industry change, dev block, that's announced and came on TQ. How does that gonna collapse with the Rorqual back in space? Is that gonna has a huge effect, since a lot of minerals, since the amount of minerals required is reduced, but the more of the PI and the moon materials?
Right. Yeah. Losing 7 Rorquals is, that's going to hurt. There's quite a bit of backlog. A lot of people built extra with the minerals that they had once they saw the changes coming. And if you even look at Titans or Supers or any caps, including the Rorqual, they're all pretty much selling for well below build cost, except for Jump Freighters. Jump Freighters got eaten up quick. And with all the ganking, they've gone pretty quick. But most everything else is still selling well below build cost. So as these Rorquals get chewed up and more dread bombs happen and this kind of stuff, the price is slowly going to creep up till it finally hits build cost, because there's no more extras, laying around that people can sell. So that's going to take a while, and it may happen in alliance to alliance. Like Goons may have a lot of them saved up, so their prices don't raise quite as quickly as maybe another another group who maybe doesn't have as many extras laying around that can support these losses as quickly, type thing.
Well, yeah, that's definitely the case, I think. We have those huge stock. We have the month between the dev block and the real patch on TQ. So I think a lot of stocks were created during that month of gap, I would say, between the 2 dev blocks. So I guess we're gonna move on to some topics that maybe you can't talk too much about. So first, I'm gonna go into the changes that's gonna come to Rorquals and Orcas, right? So as we know, those are two ships that people likes to use, right? Rorquals in Null Sec and Orcas in HiSec. So right now, their designated role is what's called industrial command ships, which means that they're supposed to be the leader of a mining fleet to give them boost and to basically collect ores from each members and to collect to their giant warholes. But now we have another role that's added to those industrial command ships, which is the solo mining ships. So with the Rorquals that can put out excavator drones, with the workers can put out like augmented mining drones. They're really powerful mining ships, especially the Rorqual on its own. So do you see anything that's going to change, and how's it going to change? If you can say anything about it.
The dev blog said every mining ship is going to change or going to be have a balance pass put on it, and those ships mine. So I would expect that, yep, they're going to have a balance pass put on them.
But like, what direction can you? Any like, is a Orca maybe more to the boosting, or is it going to be solo mining? Is anything like that?
I'm sure some numbers will go up and some numbers will go down.
All right, well, I guess we have to wait and see. And another thing is we have a hobo leaks on the or anom changes. So for people who don't know, who are just coming back to this game, in the past, a lot of times people mine in belts. So that's the Astra belts that basically every system has. But with the scarcity, a lot of belts were removed since they don't have enough security status, or like their security status is not low enough. But so with to help the recovery of those belts, CCP added a lot of anomalies. So those are war anomalies. So they used to call it the large Mercoxide, Arcanor, and Bistos deposit, and now their new name on Singularity is called the large Mercoxide deposit. So I guess the big thing right here is the Mercoxide. So can you speak on maybe how is Mercoxide a special thing in the mineral market?
Mercoxide is used for building Tech 2 ships and Tech 2 items. When the war or when scarcity first started, it kept up pretty good. And lately, the prices spiked significantly. I don't know how much you can read from a mining change on Sissy, because Sissy changes for whatever reason, different forks. I think they just did a mirror not too long ago, but Hobo Leaks has its uses for sure, but it isn't always 100% either. So.
Right on. Maybe, I mean, Mercoxide is building for T2 ships and T2 modules as well. So a lot of T2 ships require those. But the price of Mercoxide has really spiked up, right? So I think last year this time, or a bit before this time, it was about 10K per unit. And right now we're seeing the highest in the past year has spiked above 100K per unit, right? So can you maybe speculate on what's the cost of those big price for the morphite? So that's a mineral that you get after you refine Mercoxide.
Right. It's used for building ships, but a Tech 2 capital gun uses more morphite than a munit. So people building the Tech 2 capital guns for dreads, basically any Tech 2 capital item, so fighter support units, siege modules, triage modules, all that stuff, use tons of morphite. And a lot of that was being prepped for the war. So I would imagine usage went up significantly, and we're just seeing the price reflect that.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing the price at the end, the tail end. Right now, it's going down about like 80K per unit. So I think, like you said, this thing, the price of that is gonna slowly going down since not a lot of big alliances going to require those as a war stockpile, I think.
And I'm sure a lot of people started digging through their couch cushions looking for more fight on all their alts and everything else. And, like 100,000 a unit, I better find some and take it to JITA. So there was probably a little bit of that as well. And it could be asset safety. The people are finally getting around to their asset safety stuff. And now they're taking that out and trying to sell it to make money after the war. There's a lot of reasons the price could be going up and down.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I think with capital ships, right, they require a lot more. Even their modules requires a lot more fight compared to those sub-capital ships. So I guess we'll go on to the last devlog, like we're seeing right now, the July update. So in this update, we're being told a lot of things. So one thing is the rework of the Null Sec rating anomalies. But what's more interesting is for the industrial section, the indie section, that increased quantity of all resources across New Eden. So it has. This is, I think, out of the 5 points that CP has mentioned, I think this is one of the most, how can I put it? Well, it doesn't give as much, it's not as clear as others, right? So we can see the next one is introduction of Mungu and gas compression. That we know right away what that is, but how is it going to look like in your perspective, that increased quantity of all resources across New Eden is going to look like? Is it going to be like increase the amount of bells, or is it going to increase the size of Rorq, or how's it going to go?
Yeah, it's going to increase. Devblog says right there that there's going to be more stuff available all over New Eden.
But how though, right? Like there are millions ways they can do it, but anything?
There's probably not a million ways, but there's quite a few, and most of that stuff got explored, and then there were some ways that were picked, and that's what we're going with.
So
I'm not going to break my NDA to tell you. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's good. We understand that. I mean, so for people who don't know, Kenneth is part of CSM 16. So that stands for Council of Stellar Management. So so they have like some early access to a lot of CCP's, I guess, information. So they also have a NDA that they signed. So that means they can't talk about a lot of things, or they can't speculate a lot of stuff. So I guess another thing that maybe you can introduce is, so last thing that he says is called rework of industrial index, including greater choice over distribution of resources. So what is industrial index, and how it's going to relate to the distribution of resources?
Okay, so the industry index right now is the number of hours of industry in your system divided by the number of hours of industry in New Eden. And it's a physical number, and that number is used in an equation to determine how much you pay to install a manufacturing job or a reaction job or a science job, something like that. So all those those numbers are very important to industrialists. Right after the dev blog for the capital stuff, remember people were complaining that it was like 27 billion or some crazy number, maybe it was 270 billion, whatever, to put that one blueprint in for research. But what they didn't realize is they were going to perimeter and trying to put it in there, which has a horrible index. If you took that out to low sec somewhere that doesn't have any index, it was only 3 or 4 billion. I mean, yeah, that's a lot of money, but it's one of the most important blueprints in the game now. It's equivalent to a supercarrier blueprint, and that's about what that costs. So it wasn't crazy out of line. By the time that people got them all researched, figured it out, and all this kind of stuff, I think I paid 1.6 billion to do my particular blueprint in my space. So industry index is extremely important to the person manufacturing or doing science jobs, because it in a roundabout way, it describes how much that they have to pay in tax to install jobs. Now, there is also a modifier to it. So every nullsec system that used to have an outpost in it, when they converted those outposts to faction fortizars, they put a monument in every system. And that monument still keeps the modifier. So for an Amar system, the modifier is 50%. So if you're, sorry about that, my rooster's having a fit. If you have, say you put in X number of hours, that modifier would cut the number of hours by half and keep your index lower, so that your install costs are less, or your index doesn't rise as quickly, depending on how you want to look at it. So they're going to rework that in the new, or quadrant 4, I think it's coming out. So the way that the index works will be different than what I just explained, but it's still a representation of what industry you're doing in that system.
Yeah, so what you're explaining is how index work right now. So after the devlog, or after the patch that's going to come to TQ, I think things will change to some degree. Maybe it's going to be same for part of it. Maybe it's going to change completely. We don't know yet. So let's, I guess, wrap up this section with one of the questions I guess a lot of people is going to ask, which is, how's Rorquals going to be? What's the role of Rorqual, let's say, after the war is going to be over, right? How is the Rorqual, is it going to be back in the belt, since during the war, belts has basically demolished, and we have anomalies, we have moon mining, we have ice mining, we have lots of other things. What do you think the role is going to be for Rorquals and maybe other mining ships?
Well, before the war, it was still scarcity, so they weren't used pretty much at all in the months leading up to the war anyway. They'll definitely be used for moon ore, especially there's a rig that makes the moon rocks bigger. That definitely helps with Rorqual mining, and ice belts for sure. Ice is one of the things that spiked pretty hard lately, and I would expect a lot of Rorquals to be in the ice belts, hoovering up as much as they can. Now, as far as after the patch, there's going to be redistribution in there, more of stuff all over. Maybe some big rocks, maybe some small rocks, maybe rocks that are scattered around, maybe rocks that are close together. You never know. It could be a combination of all of that. And like I said earlier, some numbers on the Rorq will probably go up, some will probably go down, and some may stay the same. You don't know, but it'll be fun to see how everybody tries to break it again.
Oh, I guess so. Right now, they're used for a lot of ice and moon mining, so they're not used heavily, I guess, on like mining normal minerals. At least in Nullsec with Rorquals. But with ice mining, I think they also nerfed the belts for ice belts. So what they used to have is
the belts are pretty much the same, just their spawns got changed.
Yeah. That's what I wanted to say. Like, so spawn rate. So I think the rate of spawn was like 4 hours. It doesn't matter if the downtime or not. But right now, I think it's a set time, and it's reduced the chances of them spawning, and it's randomly in constellation.
Unfortunately, we're not allowed to say the mechanism that's being used there, but most people have at least got it close. The other thing is, a couple of people have asked the same question about the shuttle bomb, and people are just now seeing this, but we have used this ever since Creus in 2014. This method was used even as far back as there. It's nothing new. people are just now starting to see it because of how the loot mechanism works on Saudios and stuff. But it's been going on for years. It will continue on, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. You're just not. And it's a viable tactic, and it is why you really need to control your industrial wing quite a bit, because just because someone can't get a spy into your command channel and see what your Titans are doing, they can sure as hell make the rest of your ships cost a lot of ISK.
Yeah, so for people who don't know what is shuttle bombing, so that's a thing that we saw yesterday. So during one of the brave SOTOs that were lost in Aquarius, we found in the, I think, corp hangar, there are about 50k or 40k units of Mars shuttles. So with that, it will, I think, like Kenneth said, it will increase the industrial index, which means that it will raise the cost of building other ships. Especially there's a SOTO, which is a lot of time being used for, and a lot of time only being used for like building capitals or super capitals in order to keep the cost index down. So, so I think since we're on the topic of Rorquals, I think we have mentioned this before, that test has lost a lot of Rorquals recently. So, well, we're going to start off with the frat one. So this is a run, I guess a bombing run, not a bombing run, but like a drop by frat. So frat used a lot of stealth bombers. So they are from all races. We can see Hound, Manticore, the Purifier, and with the addition of Kikimoras. So for people who don't know why Kikimora is like a very, very good choice for this, is Kikimora is technically is a destroyer, so therefore it's a small ship, which means that you can go through a lot of those kind of only smallest ship you can enter, that kind of wormhole, the small ship wormhole. So they can go through a lot of wormholes, and they're really effective in terms of outputting damage after it ramps up. Yeah, so we are seeing this. So right now we are counting on 2 Rorquals that are lost. So Test put up a Munion fleet, but they didn't manage to save the 2 Rorquals. So we have the next next one. So this time is between the Imperium and Test. So Imperium dropped another, again, Kikimora fleet. So we have seen right now Kikimora fleet twice. So this is the one that happened in 2EV. So wait, let me see on the screen. So okay, so we're gonna start with this one, I guess, the K4UV one. So this one is in Outer Passage. Again, so this is a new home for Test. So in here, we on the right hand we have Dread Bomb, so that's, and Purple Helmeted Warrior, and we from Voda. So this is basically RC. So that's Wrecking Crew, and in the middle we have Goonswarm, the Initiative, the Bastion. So that's basically the Imperium, and on the left is the I would say the Defenders, which is Test. So right here we're seeing Test has 3 Rorquals got dropped, but they dropped Minukawas, so that's a fax, and some carriers to support to trying to fight off the Kikimoras and the stealth bomber fleet that were brought by both RC and the Initiative, and basically the Imperium. So in here we have 3 more Rorquals that are lost. So that comes up to 5 Rorquals in the past 2 or 3 days. Yeah, so, and we have the next one, which is the one happened in, so this is the one I think we looked at. So there's 2EV. You can find it, Maniscar. Yes, this is the one. We have 2EV. So this is another 2 Rorquals. So we're coming to 7 Rorquals now. So this one again is dropped by both Initiative and Imperium. So it's basically another combination of Kikimora fleet and some stealth bombers. So again, another 2 Rorquals that are not saved. But what we have seen on the kill mill is another, I think, 6 Rorquals that are saved. So we are seeing some success in this, some not, right? So out of the 8, 2 were lost, but 6 were saved. So it's they're very dangerous right now out in space. So I think even in the last 2 or 3 days, we've seen 7 of them got destroyed. And
they were moon mining because there's an Athanor on the kill there, so they were most certainly moon mining.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess that's just basically amplified a point that I think Kenneth made earlier, which is the role of the Rorquals now is basically for ice mining and moon mining. Yeah. So I guess we have another one. The last one that we're going to look at is in TPFT, but TFPT, also in Outer Passage, test new home. So there's another 2 Rorquals that are lost. Wait, is this the same one that we have seen before? Wait, yeah, so this is the one that we've seen before. So this is the first one that we looked at. Yeah, so out of all the 3 ones that we have seen right now, so about 7 Rorquals were lost during the process. So we're seeing, I think like Kenneth said, a lot of new Rorqual pilots that just got into Rorquals during this during the war. So maybe they're not fully trained enough. They don't have a lot of experience. Maybe it's panic, or maybe just to fall on the FC side. So we're gonna try in the coming days to get some stories or from either side, but this just looks like normal wormhole hunting from Frad, from Imperium, from the Wrecking Crew. So on the side of building super capitals, we have the last one, which is a pandemic horde Ragnarok were lost in Aridia. So for people who don't know, Aridia as a region is right adjacent to Quirius, which is part of the extraction route that Papi took on their way out of Delph. So
there was a keep star there.
So there was a keep star. Then
yeah.
Then basically this Ragnarok were detethered, right? In that sense. There was
a keep star there.
Oh, because there was a keep star. So
if he was logged in and in his ship and the keep star got unanchored, then he would be ejected into space. So if he didn't, when he went to go log in, if he didn't look at his screen, that instead of said docked in such and such keep star, it said in space, didn't notice that, and then logged in and somehow got probed, couldn't jump or whatever, for whatever reason, just couldn't do anything. And I don't know if, when the keep star went away, they might bubble that area. I'm really not sure. But obviously people are watching it for sure. So that's my guess on what happened, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah, so I mean that's one of the things I think that's definitely true, right? There's another keep star, so it came to basically in the middle of nowhere. It's not tethered on a structure, but some people have speculated he bought this on a fire sale, or basically how he came up to miss the move up, right? So this person may be on vacation. This person maybe was just another new member who bought Ragnarok on fire sale. So do you think any speculation on that part on how he got the Ragnarok? Or
you know what? Hold on. Where was that at? Was that in
Marmeha?
No, but it's in Planet 5, Moon 3?
Yes.
Okay, there is Marmeha 5.3 Ministry of Assessment Archives. So it very well could have been asset safety to that station and then sold or put on the, what's that gambling thing now with the hypercores? Hypernet? Yeah, it could have been a Hypernet win.
Hypernet, yeah.
Yeah, and he could have just undocked from the station and got tackled on the undock. So there's the fact that it's 5-3 and there's a station at 5-3, probably almost certainly he got tackled on the station. He undocked and didn't jump out or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, and I think White Sky reacted kind of quickly, right? So we saw that's 4 dreads. So
And
basically each dread,
there's no
those.
Sino on the kill, so I don't think anyone Sinoed in. It's almost certainly was from the Keepstar, or the fact that it's 5-3 really reeks of it was in the station.
Yeah, that can definitely be the case. So, but we're seeing 2 Rorquals on this kill mill. So one of them have heavy warp scramblers, and I think the other one also have heavy warp scramblers on them. But it also has Hicks on it, so I think it was very secured by White Sky. And
Well,
we
the
saw Zenitra on there too.
Rorqual isn't scary, right? So if you're getting ready to undock and you see a Rorqual on the undock, are you going to care? No, it's a Rorqual. Oh, wait a minute. A Rorqual has 40 points of tackle. That's not good. So it's it doesn't look scary, but there's a lot of mids there and they can fit a lot of scrams.
Yeah, right on. Because Rorquals are shield, just like any other warships, they're shield tanked. So that means they have a lot of mid slots, which means I can fit a lot of heavy warp scramblers. Which in this case, that was that happened, and it worked. It worked very well to tackle the Ragnarok. But also interesting, we saw a Zenitra on this kill mill. Well, Zenitra is a Triglavian Dreadout. That's kind of rare compared to the other 4 Empire Dreadouts, but right now it's being used here to kill this Ragnarok. Also interesting that this Ragnarok doesn't have any refit, right? So usually we kind of expect to some degree that there is going to be a combat fit in the cargo hold or in the fleet hangar, but in this case, nothing was there. It's just purely the travel fit.
Yeah, that kind of is why it leads me to believe that it could have been an asset safety fire sale or a hypernet thing.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, I'll just answer one last question in chat. So, do supers and titans go to NPC stations when asset safety? Yes, it does. So it goes if it was in Null Sec and you put and the Keepstar got destroyed, that thing goes directly to low sec NPC stations.
Yeah,
So,
and if you do it in system, it's only a 0.5%. You don't have to pay the 15%. So someone mentioned earlier that the Ermelin Keepstar is dying, and they were like, "Ooh, all that asset safety." It's just going to go to the station, and it's only a 0.5%. So it's very minimal cost.
yeah, I mean, if it's abandoned structure, then everything's going to drop. But if it's fully fueled, it's ready, but it got destroyed, then it's going to go, everything inside of it is going to go into asset safety, except for the corp hangar, right? Or just stuff in production, let's say in Sotio or in Azabel. So I guess that's what we have. So any last thought on today's discussion topic, Kenneth?
No, I know everyone wants to know what's coming. I'm pretty excited for what's coming up. I think a lot of the player base is going to like it. This is kind of like be careful what you wish for, because there's a lot of things coming that people have wished for, but they may not be implemented exactly like they were thinking. So, it's gonna be fun. I think it's gonna be pretty cool because it's a whole nother segment to look at and reverse engineer and this kind of stuff. So should be a good time. Oh, you'll be surprised, Nick. Don't worry. Anything else there, Shin? Yeah, it's the people talking about the nester. As long as it's in your fleet, and if you drop the nester from your own ship, it would be in your fleet, then you can refit from it. But if you're just next to another capital and they're not in your fleet, then you can't refit off of it. Yes, I could give you dates, but yeah, I like my NDA.
Yeah, sorry, I'm back.
I wasn't sure.
This
So
has all sorts of problems. So yeah, that's all we have for today's show. So today is Wednesday, September 1st. We will see you next time. Take care.